Well, at Brooklyn Book Doctor, I am here to talk today to Jill Dearman, a client and author, a multi-time author, who I worked with on her proposal for her latest book that just came out last week on August 4th. Superpowered Astrology and all the goodness that it has for you, a kind of different approach to astrology, still joining on. Hey, Jill.
Hey, Joelle, good to see you.
Good to see you. We figured it out. It's always
Yes,
always an experience.
it's a Christmas miracle in August.
Here we are navigating
Yes.
navigating the tech of it. Well, I'm super glad you could join me today. It's always really fun to hear from real life people who've published actual books,
Mhm.
and your book just came out last week.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really wonderful. And as you know, it's a long process getting there.
It is a long process. So it's called Superpowered Astrology, and then there's 4 steps. Tell us the subtitle again.
It's Superpowered Astrology, 4 steps to a new you for a new astrological age.
Yes.
And the new astrological age is Pluto and Aquarius. But I do want to say, throwing it back, you were a huge help in making this come together. I have published, like I had published 7 books already, and I'm also, writing coach and editor. Even so, the amount of drafts that a nonfiction book proposal has to go through
Yeah.
is endless. That said, I loved every minute of it. Like, so it's sort of like, if you want people, I guess I would say to your viewers, like, if you want people to read your book, you really have to love spending time with it in all its iterations for a really long time. But you really took me from that place of, I've got all the elements, but what's the one clear idea that the public will get? Because I
Yeah.
think I started out more eggheady, and less just like, hey, here's just person to person what it's about. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, totally. So fun also to work on this topic that's very
Hmm.
much in the zeitgeist. People, we want to know what the stars are telling us,
Hmm.
and also very fun to work with you because you do know this material so well. You are an astrologer and you are a writing coach, and even so, like you're saying, even so, we always need an audience. We need someone to come in and say like, "Hey, I think maybe it's this and not that. What do you think?" And work with you on
Yes.
that because we know our subject so intimately. It's very hard to get perspective. But then you ran with it. You got a great agent. You got a great book deal.
Yes, yes. But it's interesting coming up with a book proposal that sells. It's I think it's very similar to what we're going through astrologically right now,
Mm,
which is like I'm saying to a lot of folks, astrologically, what's going on right now, you really just need to know the broad strokes. Like there are a few things, which I'll get into, that are going on astrologically that are big. And I think with doing a book proposal too, sometimes we get, and I certainly got very caught in the weeds, that pulling back that you mentioned, like being able to see like, okay, what are the 3 big things that I need to focus on
yeah.
is like the key to it all. But astrologically, like right now, I mean, what prompted me to write this book? Uh, I did get a download from the universe one night in the middle of the
Very
night. So,
helpful. So
you
love
know,
that.
absolutely, which basically told me, uh, I had a novel, Jazzed, come out, and then I was working on my next novel and struggling a little bit with, getting it together. And I really just got this message that was like, look, finish this novel that you're working on, make it a novella, finish it quick, get it out there, which was great to hear. It was like, okay, you know how it is. It's like people love to be told what to do.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, universe, I will do that. That sounds great. But the idea being then, and this was circa 2022, or late, the end of 2021, early 2022, I think. But then the message was, look, Jill, you have, you write these novels, that's great, people enjoy them, but you have this one talent that the world really needs from you right now. And the moment I kind of got this message in that sleepy, between sleep and dreams kind of time during the middle of the night, as an astrologer, I knew what that meant because I knew what was coming was Pluto in Aquarius was going to be coming early 2025, so a few years from when I got this message. And I knew that Pluto was going to be in, and as any astrologer would know, it would be in Aquarius from 2025 to 2044, so a really long stretch. And the meaning of Pluto in Aquarius is we, from 2008 to 2024, Pluto was in Capricorn, which is about government, systems, kind of like the old guard. But I knew Pluto in Aquarius coming was like, okay, the old systems are going to crash. They're done. They're outdated. They're destructive, they're self-serving, and the we kind of generation of Pluto and Aquarius was coming, which is about power to the people. And instead of us, all of us kind of being a little bit like sheep in the sense of, well, it's either this way, or the polarized opposite. Like, I believe in this and I believe in the polarized opposite. Forget all that. Like, we're part of the problem. Pluto and Aquarius is all about forget all the old ways and invent something new. So anyway, I'm very much an optimist, and Pluto and Aquarius is very optimistic. But I knew when I got this message that it's like the transition was going to be really hard, because transitions always are. So what really prompted me to write this book was I wanted to be of service. I was also getting to the second Saturn return age, or coming down the road, which is when it's like, what's your legacy? What is it you want to do on a spiritual level? What is it you want to give back? So that's what this is. And but even with all that, it's still to get this just right. It took a while.
For sure, for sure. And astrology is, in my view, it's complex when you have the trining and the squaring and the Chiron and the North Node and
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like, I leave it to the experts. So superpowered astrology, it's for this moment. That's so cool that you can have a book come out right at the moment we really need it.
Well, I do believe, and I think what I experienced, like just with this, microcosm of getting the download about the book, or bringing it forth into the world, it's. I think we're all going through this to a degree, which is taking, what is like our one great superpower that we can share with the world. That's going to make us feel like, oh, finally, like I'm being who I should be, like the best version of myself, the most heroic version of myself. And it's helping other people, which, I remember, just side note, when I was in college, I went for undergrad, I was at SUNY Purchase. And, it was like rollicking, queer art school. And I got I got into the film department, it was part of like the Purchase Mafia, all that. But I was very much a fish out of water. I'd always wanted to be a writer, and I'd written a lot, and thus that got me in. But once I was in, the technical of film, it was not my specialty. I just really had a hard time. So about a year and a half in, I was cut from the program, because they kind of did it like a conservatory style. They take it a lot of, 20 people, and then it cuts down to a much smaller number. I was devastated, but then because my whole identity was wrapped up in, but I'm a cheerleader, no, but I'm a film student, I'm an artist. But then the next semester, I got involved with something called the Here to Help hotline. It was a suicide hotline, counseling hotline run by students. And I discovered, as I think, a lot of us have either experienced or know on some level, when you're feeling down on yourself and when you're feeling kind of lost, the best solution, help someone else. So also I will say this, especially because you work with exclusively with nonfiction writers, there is something to, many nonfiction books, not just mine, are about kind of serving other people. And oftentimes it's a nice pay it forward thing where then people who read it think, oh, well, I can do this. And then they pay it forward, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in terms of like the when things really came together for this book, it was when I came up with this idea about the astrological signs, the zodiac signs as superheroes, and not like the literal like Spider-Man, Batman, but for instance, let's say I know you're Capricorn, so say Capricorn, the planner, the power to strategize, or myself, Scorpio, the shaman, the power to transform. For those listening, I'll whip off the rest of them so nobody feels left out. But Aries is the warrior, the power to take action. Taurus is the maker, the power to build, bring something into the real world that wasn't there before. Gemini, the messenger, the power to communicate. Cancer, the guardian, the power to protect. Leo, the leader, power to inspire. Virgo, the gardener, the power to cultivate. Libra, the artist, the power to harmonize. Scorpio, as I said, Sagittarius, the traveler, the power to explore. Capricorn, I mentioned Aquarius, the visionary, the power to invent, and Pisces, the dreamer, the power to create. So I thought, wow, this would be such a fun way to kind of teach people about. You have the expression, that like be the change you want to see, but then it's like, well, how?
Mm-hmm.
It's like then what?
Absolutely. That part always gets left out.
For sure. But I think this is like a great way, like a kid could relate to this, or, someone in their 90s, or anyone in between. And so anyway, so the idea was I wanted to reintroduce the zodiac signs through this lens of all of us having, superpowers. And I also include like the shadows and, the difficulties. So I guess in the book, the 4 steps. Step 1 is kind of like in the movies when you see a preview and they say in a world. It's kind of like in a world with Pluto and Aquarius. You've landed in a whole new era. So I try and lay it out. Step 2 is understanding your zodiac superhero identity and superpower. Step 3 is collaborating with your high vibe tribe. And for me, that's your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or your big 3, which a lot of people these days know what their big 3 are. But again, it's like, so what? Like, what does that mean? What am I, how am I, what's that going to do
Right.
for me? So I just took a step back and I thought, well, you know what? The sun is your sun sign is associated with your mind, kind of like your how you think of yourself in the world. Your moon sign is your emotional nature. Your rising sign is your physical self, and also like day to day how you go about living in this human existence. So I thought, oh, how great! Like kind of like there's the Wizard of Oz where we've got Scarecrow's the brain, Tin Man's the heart, and the lion is, the courage, the body. I thought, well, you know what? These big 3, they really are a high vibe tribe. They're the same. We can turn within ourselves to our own, astrological internal friend group when we need help. Because I think we're kind of beyond gurus now. We really need to turn within. And then the last part 4, is just putting it all together. There's exercises, meditations, mantras, just different ways to put these, what readers have learned into practice. And it's fun to do with your friends too, I think.
Yeah. So you came up with this really simple, evocative framework, a way to understand ourselves and a way to work with this. And that's part of the superpoweredness of superpowered astrology is it's not complex. And if you have not previous knowledge of astrology, you're going to find it beneficial as well as something that you can work with yourself, work with other people, and really understand yourself in these times. Understand these times, understand yourself, and understand the two together.
Yes.
That's, yeah, super inventive. I'm curious, I think if we can just talk about your process for a second more.
Sure.
I think didn't you find a new agent when you came to this project?
I did.
Yeah.
I had previous. I mean, I think like like most writers know, unless you're just out of the gate, like 21 or something, most people go through several agents, and any agent I've had, it's where it's ended, it's been amicable. So it's really
Yeah.
just, I think it often just has to do with the stage a writer is at. So my previous agent was like a huge agent, a super agent, but she really didn't do nonfiction and
Yeah.
didn't know much about astrology. And it just seemed like clear that, she doesn't really have the contacts for this type of book. So we parted amicably. And then I reached out to my current agent, Ellen Scordato Stonesong, who I actually, I live upstate now in Woodstock, but I'm a third generation native New Yorker. And it's like, if you're in New York long enough, you know everybody in four different ways. So Ellen I knew because she had come to speak to my NYU editing class. I teach writing and editing at NYU.
Yeah.
And as a gift for being a guest speaker, to thank her, I did her chart. And then it turns out, and this was a bazillion years ago, turns out, she's very into astrology. So
Mm.
anyway, and we knew each other from many other connections over the years. But yeah, but also just to say, like, that happened to be the case for me, but you don't need to like know an agent
Yeah.
personally. It really is like, I'm sure if, I wasn't doing astrology, someone else came along with an astrology book she was really excited about, they'd have just as good a chance. But yeah, it's I think, uh, these in recent years, how there's been this saying going around of where each of us is the sum of the five people we spend the most time with,
Yeah.
and so I think there is something to find your tribe, find, and it changes. I think a lot of
Mhm.
us are going through something these last several years and
Mhm.
it's very Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius also rules friendship and
Mhm.
community, where it's like, look, we could have friends since forever, but maybe what they're going through right now, it's not, in sync with what we're doing. So we can still love them and vice versa. But I think there is something to like, shuffle the cards and get the people around you who are in sync with the same idea of, even if it's not conscious, of helping the world in the same way that you
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, your book is just so exciting and coming out at such an amazing time. And I love this vision you have for it. It's not the usual vision you hear about for astrology. So I think that's
Mm,
really exciting.
thank you.
What are you excited about now that you've done all the hard work? You came up with this idea, you wrestled with the idea, you wrote the book, you got a new agent, you got a publishing deal, you wrote the book's come out now.
Mhm,
I mean, there's a lot of steps to go through to get to this moment.
mhm.
What are you excited about?
Well, I mean, it's really great to just have it out there, and I think this, like being able to connect with readers, with the public, it's really wonderful, because that's the thing about writing a book is like, we have like our smaller group, our friends, teachers, students, family. But when a book comes out, it's accessible to everyone, which is just so wonderful. So I really appreciate the people just pop out of nowhere, and it's a lot of fun. But also, I have to say, like, I'm a Scorpio. I have Moon in Aries, Sag rising, I think, like you, Sag rising.
Yes.
So I think of myself as like a fun, friendly Scorpio. But I definitely I'm always thinking ahead, and so I have a next superpowered book
Mm,
proposal that I'm working on.
yeah.
I may be calling you,
Yeah.
Joelle, so get ready.
All right. All right. I'm
All
getting
right,
ready.
okay. So I need you for this. Um, yeah, and I think like most writers, it's like you write a book, but then the next it comes out, enjoy it, and then it's also like, okay, thinking ahead to the next one.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
like that balance.
Totally. Totally. Well, the day you see someone reading your book on the train,
Oh,
you have to take a picture.
yes. Well, and by the way, this is
Oh,
the cover of the
nice. Yeah,
book
it's a great cover. I love it.
in case
I
people are,
love it. I love
yeah.
it.
And I also just I kind of launched my new YouTube channel. So that's also
Yeah,
like a big thing. So yeah, so if anybody, it's Jill Dearman Astrology. So if anyone wants to
great.
subscribe, I'm really, I have
Awesome.
some content on now, and I just really want to, I would say the communication is the best part of having this book out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So, everyone, this is Jill Dearman. If you want to know more about her, Jill Dearman or Jill Dearman Astrology on YouTube, and her book, which just came out last week, is called Superpowered Astrology. Tell us the subtitle again.
Powered Astrology, 4 steps to a new you for a new astrological age. It's published
Yeah,
by Norton. And you could also, my website's also www.jilldearman.com. So,
great. Thanks
yeah.
for making that super clear. Great. Well, great to talk to you today, Jill. I'm so
You
excited for
too.
you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Joel. And truly, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
May this book do all the good in the world.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.